everyone, and welcome to another episode of Finding Joy in Your Vestibular Migraine Journey. We are so excited because today we have with us the Meniere's disease warrior, Dave Giugno. We're so excited.
Hi.
Hi. So Joy and I actually met Dave through the Meniere's disease support group online. And Dave has his own YouTube channel, and so he has helped Joy and I a lot starting our series. So we are very excited to have him on with us today. So thank you again, Dave, for being here with us.
Oh, Deb, thank you. I'm honored that you actually, wanted me on the show. So
Oh.
it means a lot to me.
So tell us a little bit about your background. Tell us a little bit about Meniere's and when you first received your diagnosis for Meniere's.
Oh, okay. Well, this is a long process because I started getting symptoms on Christmas Eve 2014 with vertigo, and my family thought that it was a virus, it was this, it was that. And okay, my sister-in-law's a nurse, so I'm like, okay. And then like 2 weeks later, it happened again while I was in Virginia with my son. He was bringing him to his AIT training at Fort Lee. And so, I just spent the day in the hotel and rested, and that was it. And then about a month later, it happened again. Then I went to my doctor, and he did the Epley maneuver, which really didn't do much. But then he gave me a prescription for meclizine. So every time I would get one of these attacks, I would take a meclizine. And it was over the counter anyway. So I would take it, and then like 2016, I didn't have an attack at all. The whole time I was like, oh, that must have been something, bug, whatever passed. And then 2017, it started all over again. And my wife actually said, we're going to the doctors. Because I was like, I'll just take a meclizine, I'll be fine. She's like, no, we're going to the doctors. So we went to the doctors, and then he sent me to one ENT who thought I was crazy. A second ENT who did an MRI and said there was no acoustical tumor, and that I did have Meniere's disease, and there was nothing he could do in his prescription for Clonopin. And I was like, no, this is not working. So he sent me to another ENT who researches Meniere's, and that gentleman, he's no longer with us. Dr. Gasik, he's no longer with us, but he was a researcher of Meniere's. So he tried me on antiviral. Because for some people, antiviral works. It didn't with me. We tried 2 rounds of one, 2 rounds of another. We did steroid shots, gentamicin shots. And then he sent me to another guy. And he did my laparothectomy, and he's the ENT I see now. But so 2014, the symptoms started, but I didn't get diagnosed until 2020.
So during all this time, how was, your family life and your working life, your professional life?
Luckily, work understood. I was there for a long time. I was there almost 30 years. And everybody knew if I was sick, I was sick. Okay, if there was something wrong, if I said I was sick, I was sick. Because I would go to work sick. I would go to work with bad headaches, stomach virus, flu. I just didn't know how to call it sick. Not that I was a workaholic. It's just something that was ingrained in me from my mother. That woman was as tough as nails. She went to work with broken ankle, broken elbow, cancer. I had to we had to take the car away from her because she wanted to go to work. But they were pretty good about it. They got me out of the territory I was in and then moved me into Leahy Hospital, which was basically I'm there all day, fixing whatever, fixing the copiers and whatever. And if I got sick, okay, just go home. Whatever you got, do it tomorrow. Or, Diane, my wife, picked me up a couple of times from there, had to drive me home. Plus my sister-in-law works there as a nurse practitioner, and my cousin was in charge of the ER at Leahy Clinic. So if I really had a problem, I could just go into the ER and my cousin would slip me in, or
You
my
had people.
sister-in-law would be like, okay, I'll take you home, leave your car here, we'll pick it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that worked out good for a while. And then when I got to mice and I couldn't go to work because I drove for a living. So, it was like I had to go on short term, long term, and now I'm on disability because a year after I had my labradectomy in 2019, I went bilateral. So I had about 11 months of really good time getting back to work, getting back into walking, all this stuff, and then bam, it started again.
And what inspired you to start your YouTube video series? Because I love them.
To be really honest, it was at first just to get better at video editing, because I was recording mass for my church. When COVID broke out, they called me up and said, hey, we know you take pictures down. Hey, think you can record mass? And I was like, okay, yeah. And so sure, I recorded the first one. I didn't edit anything. I just recorded it, put it on my computer and posted it. But then I learned that week I went and got some editing software and got better and better. Then I said, instead of doing this week by week, why don't I start a channel on YouTube and I can edit videos and it'll give me practice and I can get down pat. And at first, it was really just stupid videos. It was the world according to Dave. It wasn't even it was the world according to Dave. And I always have teddy bears since I was a little kid. I'm not going to get into a long story about it, but I always had teddy bears. So I think in 2018, my wife bought me this teddy bear for Christmas, and it was the Patriots teddy bear. So remember Trumpy bear? Remember the commercial? You ever see the commercial of Trumpy bear as Donald teddy bear? They have the Donald Trump swoop.
Oh,
So, I did Patty the Patriot bear.
Oh.
So I made a video. I made like a video of him talking, and then look, he comes with a blanket, and I put him in my recliner, and you got him covered in a blanket, and I make him talk, and, yeah, this is comfortable. Thanks, Dave. Remember by Patty the Patriot bear. And I'm, I got my hand behind his back, and yeah, remember by Patty the Patriot bear. And so it just was spoofs about that. And I went, how can I, what, this is stupid. Why don't I do this for something good? And I thought about it and I said, you know what? I can help people with videos because I make videos for my my support group. Why don't I just make it to a broader spectrum and I could help more people? And that's why I do it. And then Meniere's Disease Warrior was born.
Yeah. And how do you come up with all your topics? Because you have so many that are so good.
I get inspiration from a lot of things. Because I kind of don't look inside a box. I look outside a box. So if I see something, like I'm watching a show on TV and I see something, hey, wait a minute, I can relate to that with Meniere's, and I'm sure other people can too. Let me do a video on that. Sometimes the Bible, believe it or not, I know it's not a religious thing, and I'm not, I know I'm talking a lot about church, but I'm not pushing religion. But sometimes the Bible will give me some inspiration. My wife gives me a lot of inspiration. And my friend Gina Marie, who actually was the videos I saw when I first got diagnosed and she was posting them in another group, inspired me to do the videos too, because I saw what she did and how she helped me.
Yeah.
And I contacted her too. This is how we got to be friends and got really close. I contacted her and I went, hey, I'm not a dirty old man. Thank you for your videos. They helped me out tremendously. And no problem. Message me whenever you get a question. And I think I drove her crazy the first year. But we became very good friends, and then we started Meniere's and Vertigo Without Borders. But she was a big inspiration, and sometimes she is an inspiration for my videos. Looking at people's posts is one of the biggest inspirations.
Yeah.
There's inspiration all around you. You just have to find it. You have to look.
Yeah, it's all around.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't talk about things I really don't know,
Mhm.
because I'll be the first one to say, if somebody asks me something, I don't know, I never had that.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes inspiration is hard. It's hard to find it, but you got thousands of people, and everybody has a story, everybody has a question.
Mhm.
I can provide an answer. If I can, I'll do a video on it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you'll see me say, I'm not saying what group I got this out of, I'm not saying the person's name, but this is what I read, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And this is how I look at it, and things like that. It's fun.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
is fun.
And as you two know, it's people don't realize it. You don't just shoot a video and then put it up there. You
Right.
got to edit it. And every video, 10-minute, 15-minute video could take 2-3 hours. Sometimes,
Yeah.
I know the videos I do down at church, sometimes they're 4 hours, takes me to do everything, and sometimes it's all night.
Yeah.
So, but that's really how the channel got started, was by me wanting to edit more, learn to add more about editing, and then why don't I do something to help people instead of pat the teddy bear and making my dogs talk or something,
Well, and your videos do inspire me. I've had times where I'm just a little off, or maybe I'm down, and I'll just pop one of those videos on, and I'm like, it helps. It just
Yeah, you
helps
do. You feel
to
better.
relate
Yeah,
to
I got that this
somebody.
morning from one of my subscribers.
Yeah.
Well, she said something about another video I made, and then she
Mhm.
was telling me she watched another video, and she messaged me back. I'm grateful for all input.
Because you're just so inspiring with all your videos and everything, and you always have, a good attitude. And so we wanted to talk to you about, kind of de-stressing for the holidays. Like, give us some advice about that.
I hide under the bed. Well, see, the holidays aren't as stressful for me anymore. Because where I have, Meniere's, and the family understands, whether it's my kids or my wife, and I always have, if I don't feel good, I can stay home. Or if we go to my mother-in-law's, if I don't feel good, which she doesn't live too far, I can have somebody drive me home, or I can go to sleep in a spare bedroom. And if we're up at my wife's sister's up in New Hampshire, if I don't feel good, it's either I can rest there, or or one of my kids will give me a ride home, or we'll just leave early. As far as me going out shopping, hello Amazon.
Mhm.
I try not to go to
Yeah.
the mall. If I'm with my wife, I'll go. But if I go by myself, it's just, to me, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, the
And
malls.
I just
I
try to
haven't been to a
avoid it.
mall in a few years.
Yeah, it's like when I go food shopping, I go like in the morning during the week,
Mhm.
because there's nobody there.
Yeah.
Yes.
And half the time they get the music off. Um, But as you know, when I was young, when we were younger, yeah, it was stressful. In the beginning, when I first started all this,
The
it
stress.
was stressful because people didn't understand and I didn't understand,
Yeah.
you know. But
Yeah.
now it's if you have people that understand you, even if it's one person,
Mhm.
um, it makes it less stressful. And always have a plan. Always have a backup plan.
The
Um,
exit plan.
an
Yes.
exit plan or a plan to rest or even a room somewhere to that you can go to and hide. Not hide, but
Yeah.
like Thanksgiving. We
Mhm.
had my sister-in-law was over, brother-in-law was over, my daughter was over, and her friend. And it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too stressful, but sometimes I just kind of down the basement, you know,
Yeah.
and 20-minute break and head back upstairs. I mean, even though I'm in my house, I mean, I could go in my bedroom, shut the door,
Yeah.
but okay, I'm back up, you know. And the downside about that is that, like, if we're at a function, let's say we're at a wedding, and when we're in places, I tend to go outside a lot. I always did this, but
Mhm.
people think I start smoking again because I go outside. But I've
Um,
always done that since I was a kid. I always would go outside. I'd stay in for 20 minutes. I'd be outside for 20 minutes. I always did that. So to me, that was like a natural stress reliever
yeah.
to
Yeah.
get away from everybody. But now, people think, oh, is he smoking again? No, out there talking.
Yeah. It's okay to take the breaks, take
Yeah,
a break.
it's okay. And the thing is that you got to think there are times you have to think of yourself.
Mhm.
And those are those times. If somebody gets mad, you know what? That's their problem.
Mhm.
They should understand, if they're family, they should try to understand what's going on with you, not the other way around. And that took a long time to learn. To the point now, yeah, if somebody gets mad because I'm sick, I have Meniere's, whatever, I don't care. That's your problem. It's not mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and it's, you know, and like I've said in videos too, I'm a lucky person because I have a wife who understands. I have a brother who understands. I've got in-laws that understand. Not everybody has that.
Yeah.
And not everybody gets along with their in-laws to begin with.
Mhm.
And I've always gotten along with my in-laws. So I'm very lucky. I'm very blessed in that
Yeah.
aspect. Um, but yeah, the stress relief. Yeah, go outside, have an exit plan. You know, luckily all my kids drive, so if we're somewhere, it's usually 2 or 3 cars. Not all
Yeah.
going in the same car. So, hey, you can give me a ride home? Okay,
Yeah. You got a plan, a backup plan, and
backup
and
plan
set
for everything.
set the boundaries. Set the boundaries with your family
Yeah,
because we're the ones who will pay 2, 3 days later if we overdo it,
Yes.
you know.
2, 3 days later, we'll be paying for it, or the next day, or
Mhm.
that night,
Yeah.
or and yeah, and sure, you're gonna get the people who lay the guilt trip on, and that used to bother me. It's like whatever, your
Yeah.
problem, not mine. And I've said that to people's faces. It's your problem, not mine.
Yeah.
I'm living the best life I can.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. And I've been learning to check in with my body. Check in with your body. How are you doing? How are you feeling? And I've been learning to trust those feelings,
yes,
listen to what my body's telling me.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, the other day, my wife wanted to go to, I guess Macy's has Toys R Us open
Yes, I've heard that.
in the
Yeah.
Macy's, so she wanted to go with me, and I just was like, I can't. I cannot get in a car today. What, you can't drive? Don't worry, I'm driving. I said, no, I can't get in a car today. The tinnitus is too loud. I don't feel good. She's like, okay, no problem. We'll do it another time. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's I'm buying toys for my grandkids, not Not for me, so. If it was for me, I'd push myself. No, but she wanted to buy toys. We wanted to buy toys for the grandkids, and I just couldn't do it. And she understood.
Yeah,
And it's vice
that's good.
versa. If she's having a problem or an issue, she doesn't feel good. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll do another time or whatever. Doesn't matter.
yeah. How
It's
do you deal with the food? I know a lot of people, some people with Meniere's have to watch sodium, others it's not so much a trigger. I know with vestibular, we all have different food triggers. How do you kind of handle the food situation, or what advice to give about the food situation?
well, I'm lucky too where food sodium doesn't bother me, but
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of sodium to begin with. I'm pretty good about checking, and I've been like that since I've been a diabetic on checking sodium and carbohydrates. But I mean, yeah, if I'm having French fries, I put a little bit of salt on, but it's not the only food that triggers me is Domino's pizza.
Oh.
I don't know what it is. Domino's pizza, I will be in bed with my stomach turning and taking a Valium. So yeah, I stay away from Domino's, even if it's like we go to my son's and they order Domino's. Oh, aren't you gonna have some? No, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coffee. If I have, I usually have 2 cups of coffee, and they're usually in the morning. But if I go for that third, boom, caffeine.
Mm.
Um, but my triggers are more like flashing lights,
Mhm.
loud sounds.
Yeah.
Like if my wife's vacuuming, I go crazy. Or the organ at church, she puts it on the trumpet part of it, and it's like nails on a chalkboard for me, and that sets me off. So mine's more like sound triggers,
Yeah.
light, barometric pressure,
Yes.
um, and probably some foods, but it's not. I can't pinpoint. I never could. So I just kind of try to stay away from it, and I drink a lot of water.
Hydration.
That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah.
Yeah,
If you
I
drink a
mean, I
lot
got
of
a
water.
glass here, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's in a beer glass, but it's water. Um, but yeah, I drink a lot of water. Like the rest of today, I'll drink nothing but water.
Mhm.
I stay away from soda.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Once in a blue moon, I'll buy a Coke Zero. Because it tastes like Coke. It has no sugar. There's 35 milligrams of sodium in it. But I did notice when I was drinking a lot of Diet Coke, regular Diet Coke, that would trigger.
The trigger.
Yeah, so I kind of stay away from the sodas. But in stress is my other biggest trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So
the big one. And the big one, any holidays, I mean, even birthdays,
yep.
just any events, the stress, I'm learning to be more mindful.
Yeah,
It's a journey.
stress for me is the biggest, and it's not like like my kids' birthdays and my wife's birthday. That's nothing.
Yeah.
Not that it's not nothing, but it's not stressful. It's the rest of people. You didn't wish this one happy birthday. You didn't wish that one happy birthday. You didn't do that. You didn't come over.
Yes.
Well, there's a reason.
Yeah.
But it's and having kids, wait till they're in their 20s and almost 30. It doesn't change.
Yeah.
They can stress you out, but they're kids. So,
Yeah.
you give them some slack.
Yeah.
But as far as food triggers, it's kind of a rare. I know people say not to eat a lot of cheese, but for me, cheese is no carbohydrates. So that's like my go-to snack at night. Take like 2 slices of American cheese.
Yeah.
You know, that's like my go-to snack because I also have to watch my blood sugar as
Hmm.
well. So I got to eat every few hours now because I take Trulicity, which is
Okay.
a hormone to promote more insulin in your pancreas, and I get hungry faster. And my blood sugar will go literally
Yeah.
like down tubes. So
Yeah.
yeah, I know people always go, "You can't eat cheese." Well, I am, you know, that's what's the carbohydrate. There's no carbohydrate, you know,
Yeah.
and that carbohydrates make sugar. So
Yeah. It's about doing what's right for you, your body, how you're feeling. And,
yeah,
if you go to a holiday or a birthday function or whatever function, don't be shy to bring your own food or say, I can't
yeah.
eat that, it's
There's nothing.
okay.
I do that at parties all the time. I
Yeah.
can't have that piece of cake. Why? Well, I'm
Yeah.
diabetic. You know. Oh. You want some ice cream? No, not right now.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
save that for when I get home. That'll be my
Yeah.
treat tonight. You know, I'll have a little bit of ice cream. But um, yeah, I'm never shy about it now. No, sorry, nothing against you.
Yeah.
I'm all set. Yeah, but are you sure? No. Oh, you know what else triggers me? Is hot dogs. Any hot
Yeah.
dog. It doesn't matter what brand. It could say low sodium on it. Hot dogs trigger me big time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I can
like I
understand.
said, I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's the nitrate in it or it could be the
Yeah.
pigs. I have no idea.
Yeah. Could be anything. Yeah.
Anything's in a hot dog, you know, it's usually the scraps. So yeah, hot dogs trigger me big time.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of triggers.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
But everybody's different too, and that's the thing.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's another thing too people don't realize with Meniere's and even vestibular migraines. Everybody's different.
Mhm.
And that's why it's hard to find, they're not finding a cure anytime soon or fast because one, it's not something that's going to kill us. And two, it everybody's different. Everybody responds differently, you know?
Yes.
So it's a hit or miss.
Yeah. Think about for those people out there around the holidays that might be asked to go to a restaurant or, have you gone to a restaurant?
Yeah, we go to restaurants, my wife and I.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I have
Um,
not in a
I
while,
haven't
so
either.
yeah,
like
we
with
do.
COVID, and then after that, I still haven't gone to a restaurant. So
Yeah, we do. Not as often as we used to. Um, we kind of used to go like once a week when we were home. Before COVID, we
yeah.
usually go once a week.
You went to the restaurant, would you go when it wasn't as busy, same kind of thing, like,
No,
to avoid some of those triggers, or it didn't bother you?
we would kind of go off. We would ask the people, can we get
Mhm.
over in a booth away from the bar?
Yeah.
Things like that. Plus it always helped to tell them I don't hear.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So they would actually, some of the restaurants that we go to that know us would actually go and turn down the music, turn down that television.
Oh.
Um, yeah, and so yeah, we didn't like, not go like off hours and this and that. We would go, 6, 7 o'clock at night,
Okay.
and we'd be okay. I'd be okay, you
Yeah,
know.
that's
Um,
good.
I think the first time after I had the labyrinthectomy was the funniest. It was like 2 or 3 weeks after I had a labyrinthectomy, and I was sitting like this side, so everything was out here. I could hear everything but my wife,
Oh.
and it was so loud. So then we switched seats,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't hear anything at all. I couldn't hear her. So we were sitting there texting, and my wife got up to go to the bathroom, and a guy that I coached his kid in baseball, so he knew me. He's like, "What are you doing? You're out on a date. You're texting. Blah 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 blah." I'm like, "Well, she's texting, kidding around." And he goes, Yeah, but that's rude. I'm like, we're texting each other. I can't hear anybody. I'm deaf. Remember? He goes, oh yeah. Oh, I forgot that was Diane. He thought it was on a big date with someone. See, vestibular and exhaustion happens is because your brain is, your brain is a computer.
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, let's say it's a 6-core computer. Well, our brains are only working with 3. So our brains are working double, triple time to compensate. So
Yeah.
that's why we get tired. That's why we lose, walk into rooms and go, why am I here? Words coming out. Sometimes words come out funny and you can't get them out. That happens to me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And be like, and I stutter anyways. I've always had a stuttering problem,
Yeah.
but it's even worse now. Sometimes when I'm in an attack, I can't get anything. I can't get the words out that I want to say.
Yeah.
Exhaustion is real.
And it's exhaustion.
Mhm.
And it's mental.
Yeah.
People don't understand it. We do, vestibular patients and Meniere's patients do, but people, an ordinary person who doesn't have this, have what we have, they don't understand. They're always like, why are you so tired? I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't chase the dog today. I have no idea why.
Mhm.
I did. I mean, I was chasing her all over the neighborhood for.
Yeah.
I
You
got
get
lost in the woods.
you look fine, you look
Yeah,
good. I don't feel good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Want to get inside my head? See how I feel?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said to somebody, "Why don't you get into my shoes for a day? See how you make it." You'd be like, "Oh, I couldn't do that." And, I show them a video. One of my videos talking. I couldn't do that. I don't know how you survive like that. I don't live like that. What choice do I have? I
Yeah.
have to live like that.
And so kind of for famous last words, what advice can you offer someone, that's really struggling right now with a vestibular disorder?
Smile. There's better days coming. Believe me, there are better days coming. I know it's hard right now. I know it's tough. I've been there. Okay. But there are better days coming. You have to change the way you think.
Mhm.
If you think
Yeah.
negative, everything's going to be bad. Everything. If you think positive, not everything's going to be all that bad.
Yeah.
It's just there are better days coming, and don't give up hope.
Hope. Yeah.
Hope is the one of the best things ever.
Yeah.
And like I've said before, and I've said on my videos, I don't necessarily look at Meniere's as a punishment or something like that.
Mhm.
I look at it in a lot of ways as a blessing because I got to watch my youngest grow up. Would have never been able to do that.
Mm-mm.
You know, um, I've gotten to learn new things. Would have never been able to do that. Keep working. If I was working. And it's nice going to the store when you don't want to talk to anybody and somebody sees you and you just keep going and you can't hear them. But it's all how you look at things. And it's like that with anything. It's what you make of it. It's
Yeah.
like it's what you make of it. Your job, it's what you make of it.
Mhm.
Meniere's disease, vestibular migraines. It's what you make of it. Yeah, you're gonna have bad days. Yeah, you're gonna have bad days. But you're also gonna have good days. But people tend to remember the bad ones.
Mhm.
You don't remember the good. You ever hear the old adage, you could do 100 good things and you do one thing wrong. What are people going to remember?
Yeah.
The one thing wrong.
Yeah.
Remember the 100 good things. So,
Yeah.
you're going to have good days, and they're coming. Just going to have hope, and we live the best way we can, and people do ask me a lot of times, how can you smile? How can you smile? Well, what am I supposed to do? I wasn't always like this. Believe me, the Dave you guys see now is not the Dave 4 years ago, 5 years ago. That the Dave 5 years ago was in a very, very dark place. Having to stop work and having all these things and then tinnitus in your head all the time, having vertigo attacks, and, panic attacks because of that. And and men, like, when they're depressed, get angry. So yeah, it's like I tell my, when my father and mother were alive, those are not the parents I grew up with, kids. Okay, that Nana Papa, that's not the ones I grew up with. I grew up with a different Nana Papa. They weren't like this. They weren't giving me money. They weren't pumping me up with chocolate.
Yeah. Well,
And they're like, oh, how could you sit there and say that your mother and father did this and that? They're the nicest people in the world. Those aren't the same ones I grew up with. So yeah, and I changed my attitude to positive, live my life positive. But the other thing too is I have my moments.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah, I'm not always whistling zippity doo dah. I have my moments, and my wife can attest to it. There's times that I just sit there and say, I can't take this any longer. And then 5 minutes later, I'm like, yeah, I can keep going.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. Hi, Kara. Sorry. Somebody wants to be on TV. Yeah, I mean, so I get there for a minute or two and it doesn't last.
Yeah.
It doesn't last.
I think that's normal, for us
Yeah.
To have those moments.
Yeah, everybody does. And it doesn't matter. You could be the most positive person in the world, and it's not, you have your downtimes. If you follow baseball, the best hitter in the world goes into a slump once in a while. So once in a while we all get in that slump.
What about the emotional aspect of no longer being able to work? How did that affect you?
I had to go through therapy.
Okay.
I had to go through therapy. Because it was hard. I worked full time since I was 17, 16 years old. Never told I couldn't work, never not without a job. And spent about 30 years with one company, which is unheard of today. And it was tough. I had started closet drinking again. When I first met my wife, I was a big drinker. No problem. And when I met her, I quit because I said to myself, I will never find anybody to be with me if I continue to drink like I am. And I stopped at 19, but then at 51, being told you can't work anymore, first 2 weeks are fantastic. It's like a vacation. Okay, what do I do now? So I started closet drinking. I started isolating myself, closing myself off from everybody. I almost ruined my marriage. And I realized I needed help, and I went and got therapy. And that's a lot of the reasons why I am what I am, the way I am today, because there was a lot of things that I found out during that year and a half, that I had depression all my life. I never realized it. I thought it was normal to be this way. No, it wasn't.
Mhm.
So I've changed a lot. So the biggest thing is when you're told not to do something, if you find yourself getting into a spot where you're isolating, you're miserable, you're yelling or crying a lot, you need to get help. You need to get some therapy. Call your doctor, have them refer you to a therapist. They can put you on medications that'll help. But get the help.
It helps. It does help.
It helped, yeah, and it helped me out a lot. It really, really did. The YouTube channel wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that. Because I wouldn't have thought about that.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't have met YouTube. Because I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have gone on support groups. I wouldn't have done all these things. So, hi, Karen.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah. So the best thing is to get help. You know, if you need it, get it. Some people
get the help.
don't. Some people are, you know, very strong-minded. You know, they can get themselves out of things.
Yeah.
You know, I thought I was one of those people, but I wasn't. You
I
know,
thought I was too, but
Mm.
I've had this on and off for over a decade now, and I always just kind of took it and dealt with it. But when things got really bad last year, that's when I realized too, and I hit rock bottom, that I needed to get help. I couldn't bottle it in anymore.
yeah,
I was a
exactly.
complete mess. I completely fell apart.
Yeah, I was a mess. I was yelling at everybody, even people out of the house. You know, if somebody looked at me the wrong way, I was, you know, I was like a devil. You know, somebody almost hit me with a car, and it wasn't their fault. I couldn't hear them, and the guy started yelling at me, and I'm like, I'm deaf. I don't care. And now I would just go like, okay, whatever, just keep walking. But back then it was, you know, oh yeah, I'll show you something, you know. And then, you know, but now I'm a totally different person and happy who I am, who I am,
Yeah, sure. Our happy Dave.
you know,
Yes.
you know. I mean, yeah, I was a bit of a punk as a kid, but I'm not a kid anymore.
All right. Well, Dave, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been great. It's been a lot of fun, and enjoyed your inspiration and positivity for us and everyone out there. So thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you for
thank you.
having me.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Dave. And we'll have you on again. You will be a
Yes.
frequent guest.
Yes.
Yeah, anytime. I'm always here to help you. I've told you that before.
Yes. We
Help with
appreciate it.
channels, help with anything. And you need me to come do another video, I'm more than happy to. I was
Thank
very
you.
honored to be asked.
Thank you.
Um,
Yes.
you know, it's been, you know, it's an honor. You know, you don't do things for recognition, but when somebody's interviewing you, it means a lot, and it means a lot to me. Yeah.
No.
So,
We've become a vestibular family, and we
Yes.
appreciate all you do for us and for others as well.
no.
Yes. We appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're welcome. Same with you guys too. You know, appreciate everything.